Uh, Hello, Dr. Rakesh. Welcome to PhD Catalyst. This interview or podcast that we are recording today is for helping prospective PhD students to understand how a person goes through a PhD journey. Since you are recently completed, I wanted to get your views on this. So to start with this, could
Yeah,
you
thank
please
you.
brief?
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. It was indeed a pleasure, having you as my colleague. And then, yes, we can start. We'll not waste time and we'll start.
Yeah. So may I request you to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Rakesh. I have my basic education qualifications. I'm a mechanical engineer of 93 batch. And then later on worked for 3 years with a steel company, mini steel company called Panchamal Steel. And then later on after that, the MBA bug bit me. And then those days, MBA used to be a coveted degree in the 90s. And then I joined this Faculty of Management Studies at MS University of Baroda,
Okay.
where we happened, my family was settled there. And I did a full-time MBA for 2 years, specializing in marketing, and then came out in 99. Thereafter, I joined a company called Thermax Limited, which is a Pune-based company, and it is a very good company with a very good employee culture, in which I worked almost a decade.
Okay.
And I was into the front end sales, in fact, channel sales. They used to have these, channel partners. And I was managing these channel partners initially in the territory of Karnataka. Then I moved to briefly to Hyderabad and then to Gujarat, Baroda,
Okay.
Ahmedabad. And in 2010, I left and then joined Larsen and Toubro.
Okay.
Initially, I was with Larsen and Toubro's joint venture with Mitsubishi for manufacturing, the supercritical and ultra supercritical turbines and generators. So I was instrumental in developing the after sales market, because
Okay.
if you know this heavy equipment industry, it is a razor and blade strategy things.
Correct. Yeah.
You get the razor very cheaply,
Hmm.
and when you go to buy the blades thereafter, the blades come at a very high cost. It's called
Okay.
the razor and blade strategy. So
Okay.
heavy equipment industry also, in their quest to sell their equipment, since the competition is so acute, they do this razor and blade strategy, and this after sales market is the real cash cow. So this is something that I had developed over a period of say 8-9 years, and
Okay.
thereafter I shifted to Larsen and Toubro's Power division, wherein I'm doing more or less the same thing, but for all the all the JV companies or other subsidiary companies for developing this kind of an after sales business. So you can call me an after sales expert.
Okay.
So to say.
Great. Great. Great.
Yeah, so that is my professional career. And then when I was doing and I was working in Larsen and Toubro, L&T had this, tie-up kind of a thing with the Symbiosis to promote doctorate education, people who were
Okay.
interested to pursue this education. As you know, to pursue doctorate along with the job is more or less impossible if due support is not given by the employer.
Correct.
So fortunately, I had this employer who was supportive, and then they were, in fact, my then chief executive, Mr. S.K. Das, was in fact wanting me to pursue this since I had this interest, and then
Okay.
he said that we will give all the support. So that is what thanks to my employer, I was able to do this. So they were so supportive, and then this journey began in 2017. Wherein we had cracked this entrance exam, and
Correct.
then we had this 2 rounds of interviews,
Yeah.
and then initially we had to give a research idea to the interview board. So it
Yes.
looks so childish now when we think, because we did not know the A to Z of research. Nothing we
Correct.
knew about research, and still we were giving a research idea to a group of people who were, the veterans in research.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but we all went through it, and then
Yes.
we convinced that, given a chance, we could pursue this and make it, even though it was a sapling as of now,
Yes.
we could let it grow and make it a big tree. So fortunately, I was selected, and then we started the next challenge, which was to, I was placed in Surat, and then this classroom courses, which used to happen in the weekends, were happening in Pune. So getting the employee approval for taking a privilege leave, lump sum privilege leave, and then getting it deducted on a daily basis as and when we consume it. So that was another challenge, and going to Pune, attending the classes, coming back on Monday early morning and going to the office. I still think that, how I did it, but still, the interest in pursuing in PhD was so much that the physical challenges which we were facing, we were able to, go through that and then come out successfully. So after 6 months class.
Yeah, I want to take a pause there, and before we go into the journey, what was your motivation to do research? I mean, I understand this opportunity of doing research from your employer was there for everyone, but only few of them have taken this opportunity. So, what was the motivation behind doing PhD for
Okay,
you?
let me make it very clear that my motivation was not to have that doctor thing, ahead of my name. That was not the
Okay,
motivation.
okay,
I write a little bit. I've written some books, some fictional books and some poetries, some short stories and all. So then I was suddenly thinking that because I had an inherent interest in management, especially marketing, since I am doing it not because just to earn the bread for the family, but I had an inherent interest for this doing marketing. I've read a lot many books in marketing and management. So since I have this small ability to write, I thought that one day I should be writing a management book
okay,
with the Indian perspective, because most of these management books that you see are from the Western perspective, and then we try to implement in India, which is a very different market.
correct.
Okay, there is a huge difference. You
Yes,
cannot compare the other markets, the Chinese or the US or the European markets. The Indian market is totally different.
yeah,
You are comparing, elephants with rhinos.
correct. Yeah.
So that way I thought with Indian background I could write something. So that was one interest which drew me towards doing PhD, so that I can have some authenticity when I write, because every Tom, Dick and Harry, if they start writing books, I think may not get accepted.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you should have
The
some
doctorate.
authenticity with you.
Yeah.
So that's
It
why
gives the
some knowledge
credibility.
should
Yeah.
be there with me, so that just to pursue the, even if I had not completed the PhD, I would have been a happy man, because the journey has taught me so many things. So that degree apart, or that prefix apart, I was doing it for my knowledge, and but the knowledge
Okay.
still is motivating me to read new books, whether I've
I think,
completed
yeah,
PhD or other.
that's a great Nobel, what you say, motivation. Coming to your research topic, how did you select your research topic,
Yeah.
Rakesh?
Yeah, that is, see, I was, as I told you, I was into the services marketing. I was doing this after sales. So it is
Correct.
basically services and related spares. So you can, put a bigger bracket and say that it is services marketing.
Okay.
So I thought that when I was going and I was representing a branded company, and when I go there, mostly these competitors are from the small scale sector, unorganized sector. And then therein in services, since it's intangible, you cannot have your price right. Okay, you always end up doing it in a trial and error method, by which time you lose the opportunity. And especially from the point of view of companies entering India or a new market, by the time they do this trial and error thing, the
Mhm.
market is out of their hands. Okay,
Correct.
market does not wait for anybody. So that's when this pricing was really a challenge when I was representing my company and going into the market. So I thought there should be some amount of mechanism or a method in the madness wherein we can arrive at a more or less right price, so that you are not outpriced, or neither you are lowly priced, so that you know
Correct.
finally you are doing it to
Yeah.
make profits. And if you are
Correct.
lowly priced, if you are a good company, suppose if you are getting a Mercedes car at say 10 lakhs rupees, everyone will buy Mercedes. No, but
Yeah.
Mercedes is not going to make money. Neither they will be doing justice to their brand value by
Correct. Yeah.
selling at lower price. So both way they are at a loss. So they shouldn't be pricing very high. But if the Mercedes is priced at 2 crores, who will buy it? Another thing, dilemma,
Yes.
right? So this
Correct.
kind of a dilemma I was trying to address in my research problem, wherein I thought that I should make some amount of a pricing model so that people can rely upon that when they enter a new market, especially for the branded companies.
Okay. Okay. So your research topic was about pricing in service marketing?
Yes, yes. It was in fact a pricing model for select industrial services,
Okay.
formation of pricing model for select industrial services.
Okay. Okay. Now, coming back to, I think you already touched upon how you entered the program. So to summarize for our audience, I think you joined the program through your employer, Symbiosis University Connect, and then you cleared the interview, and then you gave initial proposal to the panel, which was then approved, right, before admission. So after that, you were talking about some courses. So what are those courses that you underwent?
In the beginning, the classroom courses were the basics of research. They will teach you research methodology,
Right.
quantitative methods.
Yes.
Because research, people come from different backgrounds. For example, I am an engineer, so quantitative methods come naturally to me. But
Correct.
the humanities part, or the what is that called? The research, the other things, research
Methodologies.
methods and all.
Yeah.
You have to go
Correct.
through a classroom. They give you the basics
Right.
uh, based on which you need to build your research. Okay, so these basic
Okay.
courses are covered and they are rightly covered. I am very highly appreciative of the university for
Okay.
having taken us through those courses. And then in the second semester we have to go some online courses which is related. I did something on quantitative research,
Okay.
modeling.
Okay.
There's something called modeling, equation modeling, and all that I
Right.
did.
Yeah.
So such courses we did. And after 1 year, we are supposed to do this, present your research plans
Correct.
to the UGC committee and then get it
Right.
approved. Then only you are what is that called?
Approved researcher. Yeah.
Approved researcher. Otherwise, till
Correct.
that time, you are only a professional researcher. Yeah.
Provisional researcher. Right. 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 So to come up with the research proposal, what steps you took? I mean, you must have gone through some 100, 200 papers.
Yes. So this was the toughest part because you had some research idea which you presented to the interview board based on which they've selected you also. And then finally, when you go through the research papers, you understand that research is something very different than you thought. Okay. And then how difficult, and then when you go a generic subject like the pricing model, 100, the 1,000 pricing models. So you
Right.
cannot have a universal pricing model. So you have to be very specific. It's all only that path of going through the papers and then the guidance that you get from your seniors, including the project guide. When they talk to you and your professors, what they teach you in these courses, then you understand that you are just testing the waters at the shore of a Pacific Ocean without knowing the depth of that ocean. Okay,
Right.
so it happened. We all go through
Yeah.
that grind, and then
Right.
naturally, but finally we could equip or adapt fast and then adjust to it. And then in a year's time, we could come out with the research questions, the research problems, the research questions, how we are the research methodology, a proposed research methodology, which all needs to be presented to the UGC committee for them to clear that. It's not a,
Correct. Correct.
but when you're interested in something, it comes naturally to you. Because I never felt a pain in doing research.
Okay. Okay. Great.
The more work it was coming to me, the more enjoying I was. Actually, yeah, this is something I was thoroughly enjoying.
Right. And one of the other important part of the PhD journey is supervisor. So how did you go about finding the right supervisor?
Yeah, in my case, it was a tough ride for me because in my first year, I got a project guide, and then the PhD guide, and then she had to leave the university midway, and then I had to frantically look for a guide because my RAC meeting was coming closer, and then I had brought in another lady. She was with me throughout my journey.
Okay.
In
Okay.
fact, during my RAC, though she was short of time because RAC was just around the corner, and then
Correct.
she had gone overboard, and then she had helped me to. She had even made me some mock sessions for RAC.
Okay.
She
Right.
had called in her students,
Yeah.
did some mock session, 1 or 2 times I did a mock session, and then finally presented to the RAC and came out with some minor modifications. So
Okay.
she was throughout my journey, and then after 3 years, she also had to leave, but she
Okay.
was gracious enough to get another project guide to me. And but
Okay.
since she was a domain expert, and since I had spent a lot
Yeah.
of time with her, I somehow convinced her, and she was gracious enough to remain as the co-guide for me.
Okay. Okay.
And
Understood.
this third guide also left after a year, though he had given a very good suggestion, because I was stuck up at the pricing model level. Because I see, when you see a factors that contribute towards a price,
Correct.
those factors are endless. Nobody
Right.
knows, only God knows how many factors are there which contributes to the price. Because somebody may have a strange factor also, like
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody may not like a Chinese company.
Right.
Somebody may have an inclination for some German company. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
It's person specific. So pricing model cannot capture all these nitty-gritties. Okay.
Right. Right.
So I was stuck up that how to create an equation wherein
Mm.
have all these factors and have a dependent variable and so many independent variables. I was stuck up, and then this gentleman came with a very good suggestion that I should go, instead of going for a holistic equation, I should go
Mm.
for a orderly logistic regression, which
Okay.
would give you can have finite factors
Okay.
and then project the leverages of these factors on the price, which is more meaningful to do and which is
Right.
more practical to do. So
Exactly. Okay.
he broke the ice, and he brought in this revolutionary idea, which actually was a breakthrough for me. And then
Okay.
I would say that I've never looked back. After
Okay.
that, I got that idea, then I went forward, and then this madam was there throughout as a co-guide, and then
Right.
finally he or that gentleman also had to leave. Then
Right.
finally I had another guide under whom I had
Uh, okay.
finished the journey.
So, okay. So, that's good thing. At least your second guide continue with you till your
Throughout.
final journey. Yeah. Okay. So, I think research publication forms an important part of PhD journey. You mentioned you had written already some books, but how different you found research publications than writing book?
First of all, let me say that writing a book and writing a research article, if you think that you can write a research article based on the books that you must have written earlier, so it's all very different. Okay, the writing a research article is totally different because you have to cite people, you have to read so many articles first, and then find out what exactly has happened. You have to keep yourself updated in your field. Otherwise, you write something, you are not supposed to write anything of your own. Okay, you have
Correct.
to actually cite people and write. Whatever people like that punchline of Google Scholar goes, you are standing upon the shoulders of giants. Okay,
Correct.
literally so.
Yeah.
You are reading so many papers, and then you build upon your research in the article. You just give your 2 cents of your thoughts as a build up to the
Okay.
whatever has been researched, so that it is a different ball game altogether. And then because I had my own initial difficulties how to write this, but once I started writing, it came to us, with the help of the whole fraternity, including colleagues. Okay, including colleagues who we are all in touch with each other. We are
Right.
all helping each other.
Right.
So otherwise, without my colleagues' help, I think I would not have gone ahead, including Sachin, who has been helpful.
Yes.
So we were all a team, right?
Correct.
So this all helped us, and then the greatest challenge was to get it published. Because
Yes.
as you
I
know,
wanted to
the
come
major
to that aspect. Like once you complete your manuscript, I think the author has to go through multiple uh, what you say challenges to get it published. So,
yeah.
what were the steps that you followed for your publications?
Yeah, first of all, let me just count down as Indians what are problems that we face. First of all, see, if we have to go by the Scopus list of research journals, unfortunately, not many Indian journals are listed under Scopus. And to add to it, India as a destination of research is not looked up very nicely by the Westerners. So they think that we are not, our articles are not original. All these things are the obstacles that we come across.
Okay.
So first of all, your articles needs to be very original. You should not be your plagiarism and all. You should be avoiding, and you have to be very careful of it because you already have such an image.
Yes.
In the West. So you have to be careful. You have to be preempting it. So your things have to be original, and read a lot. Okay, so it's not a child's play. You have to read a lot. If you're doing PhD, then you have to invest yourself into reading. Instead
Right.
of you have to keep your mobile phone away for your research 5-6 years. Just throw out that device. You use a small device which is not a smartphone. Okay, actually a smartphone makes the phone is smart, but it makes you stupid. Instead,
Right.
keep the smartphone away so that you are smart and you can make the phone stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, you should do that. And invest that time where you are scrolling on the phone, invest in reading articles.
Okay.
More you read, more you'll get ideas, and then more authentic your paper is. And then rejections, even you see Amitabh Bachchan was rejected by All India Radio for his voice. See, they were saying that your voice is not right. You're not good. Okay, so don't get bogged down by rejections. So rejections will be there. Rejections could be of because of many reasons.
Right.
So that kind of dynamics also work. So it is not
Okay.
always don't get bogged down that it is because of your merit or rather the lack of merit. It is not that many conditions are there. So like Amitabh Bachchan's example, could be there if maybe the whims and fancies of the person who's rejecting.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
so don't get so that journey but to make sure that it's not easier, it's easier said than done. To make sure that your rejection rate is because each time you get rejected, you are losing time.
Yes.
And you don't have endless time, right? You have to get published also. So to make sure that rejections are less, you have to be very systematic, and the selection of the journal is the key.
Right. Correct.
First of all, the journal has to be in your field. How to know that? You have to see what kind of article the journal has published in their previous issues. Second thing, one practical tip that I would give is that when you cite your references in the journal, you have to cite some of the articles that have been published by a particular journal to whom you are sending.
Okay.
Okay, so that is a practical tip. You may not get this tip from many people.
Yeah.
So that they find some reason to publish it. So they have a lot of references from their own articles.
Right.
And third is publish, submit the article to a journal which is publishing quarterly or monthly. Monthly may be difficult, bi-monthly would be preferred. Oh, sorry, quarterly. The more frequency of publications, the more articles they are coming out. So that first of all, your churning out time becomes less.
Yes.
Second, your probability of getting published because they are publishing a lot of articles. For example, if you are sending it to a journal which is a yearly journal, so they will hardly select some 20-25% in a whole year, and then what is the probability? You go by probability theory, then your probability is less. So these are some of the practical tips.
Yeah, great. So coming back to your topic, there are a lot of options to do research. So what kind of methodology you employed for your research, like whether it was qualitative, quantitative, or case study, or it was a mixed method research?
To quote my project guide, she was saying that my research could have fetched me 3 PhDs.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, I did a literature survey as all of us have done. Okay, that literature survey itself could have fetched a PhD because it was an extensive PhD. I could have written a what is that? You know it. Okay, based on literature survey itself, or we can apply
systematic literature review paper.
And second thing I did was a qualitative survey, qualitative research.
Okay.
I did some depth interviews of some industries here, and then made a qualitative report. And based on this qualitative report, I did 2 stages of quantitative research. Okay, I did based on this qualitative data, I built upon it with a CCA, that is conjoint analysis, conventional conjoint analysis. I did as for stage 1 of my quantitative research.
Okay.
And that was to ascertain that what all I could infer from the qualitative research. I just cross-checked it through a quantitative research and verified it, cross-verified it. After that, I went to the final research with the ordinal logistic regression with which I made this pricing model,
Right.
Which was the second part of the quantitative research. So, systematic literature review, then qualitative research, that is depth interviews, and then CCA, conventional conjoint analysis, and then ordinal logistic regression. So,
Right.
four stages. Of
Great. Impressive. Uh, Coming back to your research, I want to understand what kind of tools or softwares you used during your PhD journey.
See, we all use this SPSS. Other than
Correct.
SPSS, because for conjoint analysis, SPSS was falling short in some angle, so I had to use another software website. I'm forgetting the name. Another website I used for that, for which I had to, and then I did conjoint. And later on, I found out that SPSS also we can do this conjoint analysis.
Okay.
And I did conjoint analysis and SPSS also.
Okay. Okay.
So SPSS and this particular website, I'm forgetting the name. I'll tell you later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these two I had used.
Okay. Okay. And I think during your journey, right, after your research proposal approval, did your research evolved in multiple direction? I think you touched upon some of the points, right? There were so many factors that you had to kind of factor in your research, and then you kind of finalized some of them as part of it. So that at any point of time, did you feel that you're going too broadly or too narrowly, Rakesh?
Yes, this is a this is a great question. Okay. See, this is called branching out. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start research, you are a baby on the shores, and then you finally try to test the waters and find out the water is deep, but still you have to go inside, right? So when you go inside, you find that what you were thinking in the initial stages were far different from the reality or what is in store for you. And then in my case, I branched out a little bit, and then I had to narrow it down.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody will have to narrow it down. So there is no such thing that a universal research. Okay. You have to narrow it down to a particular thing. The better you narrow it down, the better chances of you getting recognized. If you think that you can make a universal formula that only God can make, okay, researchers cannot make.
Right.
So you have to, put yourself in that limited domain wherein you can make a difference. That is one thing. And branching out is because as you learn further, you know that some of the things you have to de-learn or throw it out, then go on the path of what you are learning afresh. So that branching out happens. That has happened for me because a concept called servitization, which I was not even aware of, which my project guide, the lady, had pointed out, and then I had branched out towards the servitization, and then servitization, the name, and then the research I did on servitization gave me more recognition when it came to publishing of papers. Because servitization is an area wherein the world is looking out to, especially from the sustainability point of view, and from the profitability point of view for the manufacturing. Servitization is a process of manufacturing companies getting into services and then bundling products and services together to the customer. Okay. So this has made many manufacturing companies who are reeling under pressure, margin pressures, because services operate at a larger margins. So when you combine a product and a service, you get as a combine, you get a better margins from it. Okay, that is what manufacturing companies are increasingly doing. And this concept, and because of its acceptability, my papers got better visibility because of that.
Wonderful. So, in summary, Dr. Rakesh, what do you think? I mean, practical significance or practical usefulness of your research? Yeah.
That's a pertinent question, but though it is, what I'm telling you may not, is applicable for others. But as far as my research has been concerned, this has been done keeping in mind, because India is a services economy now, because 52%, 53% of the GDP comes from services. We have skipped. Normally, the agrarian economy comes to a manufacturing economy and then it graduates to services. That's what happened to the US. But in our case, we have just jumped from an agrarian economy to a services economy. The manufacturing step was cut short or bypassed. So services, lot many people are coming, and the manufacturing also is coming up because of this latest China one policy of other people. So manufacturing, as and when companies are coming here, they come along with the services as part of the servitization initiatives. So when they come here and they invest in services market is a different market. A product company will not understand a services market, and to add to it, Indian market is a different market. So by the time they understand this market and then price their services rightly, they would have missed the bus. Okay, so there was an increased need to make the pricing more accurate, so that because of pricing they don't lose out the opportunity, the markets. This is what the research is based on. This pricing model which I've developed, which will be helpful to companies, two type of companies. One is the service providers that are coming to India.
Okay.
And putting a base here, so that will help them to price their services better. Second thing, the Indian companies who are manufacturing companies who are getting into servitization, being manufacturing companies, they don't know the services market. So this kind of a lacuna or a gap which can be filled by this research. So this is the academia and the industry. Maybe this is a perfect case of synchronization.
So a subsequent question or follow-on question on that is, how are you planning to use your this research in your future stream of work?
Yeah, so that is a question wherein, in my job-wise, whatever I'm doing today has no relevance to the research or the findings that I could come out with from the research. But I'm keeping on writing research articles though I have, finished my PhD journey. That's not stopping me from writing articles. In fact, as part of PhD, before I completed PhD, I had 5 papers published. Okay, so some of them in Q1 journals and all. So that has not stopped me from writing further articles. I have written 2 more articles, and 1 article has got now selected in a IEEE conference in Thailand, Bangkok. So to answer your question, yes, I am continuing the research journey on my own, way.
Okay, great. So coming back to some softer aspects like work-life balance. So I wanted to understand, because you were doing part-time PhD and you were also working full-time in your company. Did you face any challenges in terms of time commitment?
See, it is not the company. Even if your family also suffers. Okay.
Yes.
Because my family had a habit of going into movie theaters every weekend. We all have that habit. So that has to be cut short, because I was away for the first 6 months. I used to go to Pune to attend classes. And then after that, I had to, read articles, because when you are in the office, you cannot sit and read articles. You have to work, right? So it's in the weekends that I used to read these articles. So family has suffered a lot. I would say that the sacrifices they have made in everyone's PhD journey, without the support from the family, it will not work out. The family has to support, especially people married and having kids. So unless a wholehearted support is received from the family, you cannot do anything. So that thankfully I had. And then second thing, work-life balance. As I told you earlier, the employer was very supportive. In fact, since this was a tie-up, it was through the employer that I was doing PhD. So that way, the employer was very, cooperative and supportive. In fact. And they had, in fact, helped me for my surveys also. So this is all what made it happen.
Great. So I think this was a great insight. I think we can wrap up our discussion with one last question. Like, what advice you will give to someone who is considering embarking on a PhD journey?
Okay. First of all, PhD is a very nice journey. When you do PhD, finally you think that you have done something worthwhile in life. Okay. So it is something that you are doing a contribution to the society. Your research is a contribution to the humanity as a whole, right? So think from that point of view. And the journey is easy when you are interested in the subject. So you should select a subject of your interest for research. Okay, that is the key. So because if Sachin Tendulkar has been playing cricket, he has never got bored playing cricket because he has been, throughout the day he thinks, he breathes, everything is cricket. Suppose if his interest was in cricket and if his family had forced him to play hockey, what would have happened? Okay, so in fact he might have played hockey, but with half interest. Okay, because it is not his choice. So select the topic wisely. It should be an area of your interest. So then everything is solved. When you select something of your interest, then you don't feel it as a work or a workload or something. Okay, it is just you enjoy, if you enjoy a cup of tea and if somebody is put a machine beside you which could give you coffee or tea whenever you want, it is something like
Yeah.
that.
I think that's a great note to close our today's discussion, Dr. Rakesh. Thank you for spending time with us, and all the best to you. We will speak again soon.
Thank you, Sachin.